So today we will be learning on types of studios we have. Okay. So before creating this application, right, we must know what are the studios we have in Pega, and what are the available options we have in different type of studios, and why we why Pega suggests a few one of the studios more prominently. Okay. So why does it? Okay, so we will be seeing all those things. Okay, so let me articulate that as well for now. So one will be Dev Studio, and second we called as App Studio, and third one we'll be having this Admin Studio, and fourth one we'll be having a Prediction Studio. Okay, so there are four types of studios available at Pega. Okay, so one is called Dev Studio, and second one is called App Studio, third one is called Admin Studio, and fourth one is called Prediction Studio. Okay, so here I will be explaining few brief concepts over here. Okay, and later on we will be navigating through the application where we will be having a more option on that. Okay, so on the broad level, right? So Dev Studio. So Dev Studio is nothing but see. Uh, Generally, it means what? Dev. So Dev is nothing but developer, right? So which we can have the privilege to create the application, and we can do some advanced configuration as well. Okay, so going further, you will be knowing very much in detail. So when you try to develop few applications, and other try to work on few roles. Okay, and you will be familiar with this App Studio and as well as a Dev Studio. Okay, so Dev Studio is nothing but what it can create. We have the privilege to create an application, and also have few advanced configurations or rules that we can use. Okay, that we can use. Now what are the few advanced configurations that we will see, we will come to know in the coming days. But right now, just aware that we have few advanced configurations. Okay, so that only supports in Dev Studio but not in App Studio. Okay, now, and also we have the privilege to modify, or else to edit and exclude the rules as well. Okay, but as of now this is good. Okay, so Dev Studio is nothing but what, where the developer can perform the actions. Now what type of actions it can perform? They can perform like to create an application, and also it will be having Dev Studio, we will be having a few advanced configurations or rules that only available at Dev Studio. Okay, so this is good enough for the basic level. Okay, and App Studio. Okay, so generally App Studio is nothing but what Pega suggests a name. Pega generally use a name. It's called a citizen developer. Okay, citizen developer, we called as citizen developer. So citizen developer is nothing but what? It's nothing but a business user. Okay, it's nothing but a business user, business people. Okay, so business developer we can say, business user we can say. Okay, so for suppose for suppose uh, you got a call from a client that he needs an app. Okay, so Pega suggests you to develop on this App Studio. Why? Because Pega, day by day versions, right? So there are n number of versions are rolling up. Okay, so within a year of span, so there will be a number of patch versions are releasing. Okay, so all these are navigating, and all these are resulting into what, a more low code platform. Okay, So Pega is concentrating a lot at Pap Studio so that this Pega platform, results into 100%, low code platform. Okay, now how can we do that? How can we achieve that? Okay, so for a simple example, I can say at Dev Studio, we need to create a section. Okay, we need to create a section where we can have the privilege to create the properties as well. Okay, so we need to create a properties, and then we need to create section, and then flow action, and next flow, like that we will be having. Okay, so no need to worry about all these things like section, properties, flow action, flow. Okay, no need to worry. Okay, for now it's very unique and very new term, right? Okay, no need to worry, but just remember that in order to create any section, then we need to create all these things. Okay, like we need to create a property, and later on we need to create a section. Okay, later on we can have a drag and drop option, or else we can configure that one in the UI layout. Okay, so this is generally happens at Dev Studio. But at App Studio, what happens mean we will be having a rule called view. At view, it automatically creates a section along with the properties. So this is a beautiful option we have at App Studio. That means what, it's a one of the options we see. Okay, a App Studio is nothing but it leads to the very low code platform. It always having whatever the past results, it says that it always results it into the a very minimal code or low code. Okay, so Pega, why the Pega suggests it App Studio means, if you try to develop the full length application in App Studio, right? Okay, now what happened means, whatever the configurations you use at App Studio, that will easily understand to the business people. That will understand to the business people. Okay, where they can also have the understanding about the application development, and also they can easily navigate, and also they can easily go through that one. Okay, so that's why Pega always suggests you to create, or else perform a few actions at only App Studio only. Why? Because it's for citizen developer. Okay, so citizen developer nothing but what, business people, where they can also understand. So business people don't have any sort of idea on the platform, right? So that's what Pega always suggest us to create so and so actions, so and so applications at App Studio itself. Okay, but at App Studio we don't have couple of advanced configurations. Okay, so that is the problem. So I personally like Dev Studio. Okay, I'm not saying that I don't like App Studio, but in coming days, you will also, feel in, like love with App Studio as well. But I personally like Dev Studio. Why? Because we will be having a many, configurations and advanced configurations as Dev Studio. But is some few of the configurations at App Studios are missing. Okay, so that's why I used the term. Okay, and next we will be having the Admin Studio. So Admin Studio is nothing but what? See, at Admin Studio, so in earlier versions, right? So this Admin Studio is not there. Okay, so since this latest version from the Pega rolled one studio called Admin Studio, so where we can have the operations, we can say. So what type of operations in broadly way we can say. So in earlier versions we used to have this SMA, we called, say, earlier versions we used to have SMA, we can say, that is nothing but system management application. Okay, we used to have system management application, but right now, Pega, rolled its own app, own studio, so that we can perform few of the operations. Now we can see what are the operations we can perform in only in admin studio, but not in other studios. Okay, in broad way, we can say that. In Prediction Studio, we will be having now few of the options. Like okay, we can say backend operations. We can say backend, nothing but backend, or else backend operations. Okay, we can say backend operations. Like backend operations means nothing but we will be having a many options like backend operations like okay background operations, right? We can say backend or okay background. Okay, now operations like what we will be having a jobs. Okay, we'll having a queues, job scheduler, queue processor. Okay, and we'll be having a requester sessions. Okay, requesters. Okay, now all these things we will be, you know, which we can configure easily from the admin studio, but not at Dev Studio or any of the other studios we have. Okay, so at basic level, so just try to inculcate in your mind that earlier we used to have one application called system management application. I think which was developed with the Java. I think okay, so Java we need to intermediate with the Java, and then later on Pega uses its own platform called Admin Studio. It's built on us. Okay, it built for us so that we can perform a few backend operations as well, like background operations we can say, like we'll be having a background rules like jobs, queues, and request sessions. Okay, we can terminate or else we can abort the request sessions as well. Okay, so who are performing and we can trace everything. Okay, so these are nothing but a background operations which we can perform easily. And in Prediction Studio, so Prediction Studio on the broad level, right? So it's good to have a small information on the Prediction Studio, but in reality, no one will ask more about the Prediction Studio. Just we need to have a familiar with this with all these three studios in the theoretical level and as well as in the practical level. But this Prediction Studio generally we don't have access to perform. We will be having called NBA. So NBA is nothing but what? Next best action. Okay, so it will nothing but it predicts. Now it what it predicts. But see, you're very familiar with this ICICI Bank, right? Let me frame up an example for you. Like whenever you open an app, right? Uh, on the app interface itself, you will be having a few offers. Okay, so that offers are not constant. Okay, so that offers rolls up with a what dynamic in nature. Means you probably get an offer, so which is rolled especially for you and one of your friends, or else your friend, your family members might get another offer. Now how it will predict that based on the customers, they need to send few notifications in order to have the more customer acquisition, and as well as more offers. Now this studio will predict the based on customer actions, like based on what they will be having a many options, right? Like CIBIL score. Okay, and then they will be noting down all the financial status as well. Okay, so all these things, all the parameters they have, they tool automatically record. Okay, and once they meet the criteria, right? So based on that criteria, they will roll up the offer. So that's why you will be getting a different kinds of offers that will roll up in a that will perform in a dynamic way, but not in constant way, like static way. Okay, so this is nothing but we can say a decisioning. Okay, so right now we will be having in a PDN one module called decisioning. Okay, we'll be having a CPDC. Okay, certified in going further. You know, so earlier in earlier versions or earlier days, right? So we will be having a certifications level, right? CSA, CSSA, LSA. Okay, so earlier. So CSA, now we will be having a CSA. Later on, we need to do CSSA, right? In earlier versions, we need to do CPDC as well. Okay, CPDC as well. This is nothing but a decision consultant. Okay, now what is decision consultant? So you'll be having a CPDC, and as well as we'll be having an other called marketing as well. We need to do that marketing as well. Okay, we'll having that marketing marketing certification as well along with the CPDC. Okay, so this is the prerequisite in order to complete this LSA. Okay, so over here, right, at level, so we need to work on this production studio. Like we need to create, like we need to understand the NBA NSP sections. Okay, we need to understand the tools, and we need to set a few criteria based on the business requirement. Okay, so over here, this would be the mandatory, prerequisite in order to have this LSA. But right now, so this was an optional case. Okay, this is an optional case. This, in order to complete, any this CPDC, right? CSA is a mandatory thing. Okay, so right now we are not talking much detail about this. You will be confusing. Okay, so right now, so these level are the we can say a certification level like CSA, CSSA, and LSA. Okay, now coming to the types of level, right? Types of level. Usually, okay, so Dev Studio is nothing but what we will be working at CSA, CSSA level, CSA or CSSA level. And App Studio is generally used for what? Now Pega, suggest us to develop this application as well, right? So we can use as CSA as well. Okay, so we can, CSA and CSSA people, they can do, but generally it's nothing but a BA people. BA people, they can perform few actions in the admin studio app, App Studio. And as this one's Pega size there, so I will be writing it as CSA as well, and they can have a CSSA as well. Okay, so most probably BA people, and they will perform, they will have to need to work on the App Studio. Okay, and in Admin Studio, where however at Admin Studio CSA, CSSA, at least 2 to 3 times I will visit this Admin Studio, at least 2 to 3 times. Why? Because we need to create a few job scheduler and as well as queue processor as well. Okay, but not at your level. Okay, so I can say we will be having a LSA kind of thing. Okay, or else most probably CSSA. Okay, CSSA or LSA. Now they can perform few actions at the admin studio where they need to control a few access, few privileges, few backend operations as well, background operations we can say. Okay, so generally the certification level would be, we can say CSS, LSA, we can say generally it starts from LSA. Okay, but CSSA, they can have the they can perform the action, but this is not a thumb rule that only in Dev Studio CSA and CSSA need to work, or else App Studio BA people or CSA people they need to work. Okay, so there is no thumb rule, and there is no way written as well in the Pega. Okay, so based on my experience, I'm just sharing, that's it. Okay, so if anybody asks that who can on the certification level of these studios, then you can have this very well articulation as well. Okay, so for just understanding purpose I'm saying. Okay, and in a production studio, obviously, production studio know who will work, obviously. So they need to work for CPDC kind of, CPDC architect we can say. Okay, now who need to work? Consultant. Which consultant? Decision consultants. Okay, decision consultants, consult decision consultants. Okay, so they need to work on this. Okay, so decision consult nothing but what? CPDC people, CPDC people. Okay, so this is the broad intro of the types of studios. Okay, so once again I am saying, so there are 4 types of studios available at Pega. So one is of Dev Studio, so which we can have the privilege to create an applications, and also we will be having a few advanced configurations. Okay, and advanced smart shapes and everything we have. And next, at app studio. So it's meant for citizen developer. Pega uses the term called citizen developer, where it can use for the business people. Okay, so Pega recommends to use this one. Okay, so in order to make them understand easily. Okay, so it generally for low code or no code app build developer, and it's for UI and as well as a mobile, and we can use that for a multi-channel as well. Okay, and next we will be having an admin studio. Okay, so where we will be having few earlier we used to have this SMA, system management application, but right now we will be having few like jobs, queues, and requesters as well. Okay, now what it will do, it will use to perform few operations which on DevOps, and we can say the runtime status, and we'll be having the cloud operations as well. Okay, cloud operations as well. Okay, so DevOps is a platform which is useful for the deployment. Okay, which is useful for the deployment. Okay, so runtime status, for suppose if you have any sort of issues, okay, with you need to trace the requester. Okay, request a session. Okay, so with the and you need to try trace the node ID as well, no, node level as well. Okay, so we can very well track that runtime status, and we can terminate the requesters as well. Okay, so this is the beautiful options which we available only in the admin studio, and we'll be having the cloud as well. Cloud is nothing but storing purpose. Okay, so we no need to maintain any physical, but we can have this in cloud as well, cloud database as well. Okay, so Pega allows us to use this cloud and as well as this Pega DevOps as well. Okay, and however, in Prediction Studio, right, we'll be having more like what? AI. AI is nothing but what? Artificial intelligence. Okay, so we'll be having an artificial intelligence along with the NBA. Okay, so now artificial intelligence, what it does, it understand the human needs. For suppose you have ordered a product, okay, last week at Amazon. Okay, you have for suppose you have ordered a fashion apparel in Amazon app. Okay, so after few days, right, so when you revisit to the app, right, so it also suggests the pair of that apparel. For suppose if you have buy a shoe, right, so it will suggest you to buy the socks as well. Okay, or else the footing apparels as well, the foot apparels as well. Okay, so that means AI predicts your needs. Okay, that you can't even predict with your own self, but AI does. So that's why AI is more powerful. Okay, so in the prediction studio itself, okay, so we need to work on the few aspects on the AI, so that we need to develop a tool in a such a way that we need to configure a few criteria in a such a way that it should work in a dynamic way, and it should perform the next best actions. Means it need to predict the uh, you know user actions as well. Okay, so this is how it works at the uh, you know studios level. Okay,